So I just heard someone give the worst dating advice, one of the worst dating advice I have ever heard. No judgment here. Obviously, all parties of this conversation were deeply wounded, but it's something I want you to think about. So the advice was one person said to another, because you are a very temperamental, you have a bad temper, right? You're a very choleric person. You have to find yourself someone who will be peaceful and someone who will be calm. Translation: because you yell, because you raise your voice, because you're verbally abusive, because you get easily upset, because you don't know how to self-regulate, find yourself someone who will put up with your BS. That's the solution. That's the advice. That's how people understand polarity and finding someone who will complement you. I don't get it. Listen, if you have all those traits that I mentioned, and not just those, if you raise your voice, if you start a discussion, if you're making drama, if you're verbally abusive towards someone, if you're ending a conversation by just slapping the door or hanging up the phone, if you're giving someone silent treatment, whatever that is, you're wounded. And finding someone who will put up with this means, and I don't care what anyone says, that this person has zero self-esteem. Zero. Because someone who accepts their friend, their partner, do these things to them, they have zero self-esteem. Which means a wounded individual finds themselves a polarity to their wounding, so they can ignore the fact that they're traumatized and wounded, and instead of healing, they just enhance those woundings. Because someone who has zero self-esteem and puts themselves in a relationship, be it friendship again or a romantic relationship, with someone who is abusive that way, throughout the years or months, they will have even more low self-esteem, even below the zero that they already had. So it's something very important that I always talk about, and I feel like so many people just don't understand. And it doesn't matter, again, whether that's a romantic relationship or simple friendship. If you do these things, right, it's like saying to an avoidant to connect to the anxious person, because otherwise it's not going to work, right? If you're avoidant, you're not going to find yourself another avoidant, because how are you going to ever meet? That they're both going to be ghosting, they're both going to be avoiding, they're both going to be refusing to be the first one to text, right? So obviously you have to connect to an anxious personality to put up with this BS, but it will only enhance both of the woundings. So if you are someone, again, who has any kind of negative traits when it comes to treating other people, because that is what it is: raising your voice, calling someone names, giving someone silent treatment, ghosting someone, giving someone in and out energy, giving someone silent treatment, lashing out on someone, projecting on someone, is a form of abuse. So the answer to that is not find someone who will put up with this nonsense. The answer to that is heal. Understand, where is this coming from? Take accountability. Go to therapy, go to a spiritual therapist, shadow worker like myself, whatever resonates, but do something about it. Don't put yourself in a relationship, because this is how it works. The same wounding will never work. Two people that will yell at each other will never work. They'll kill each other. Two people that will be avoiding, it will never work. They will just be disappearing out of each other's lives. But creating that polarity here won't work either. It will just enhance the wounding and the suffering, especially of another person.